What's up YouTube, it's Barrymore with another DHC video, and today we're going to talk about how you guys can get an Elder Dragon 10 team with only Nat 3s, and you don't need to use a Nat 4, you don't even need a Nat 5, you can just use good old reliable Nat 3s that you get from the game. And as you can see, all these guys that I have right now are farmable with the exception of Manas. But Manas is my DPS kind of. He does do decent damage, and he does have an ongoing damage debuff. He's really good overall, reduces cooldowns, all that good stuff. But the rest of the team, Garai, my main guy, who I'm using his synergy trait because he does increase the defense of all my allies. He can be farmed from the Water Bull Demon King, Rhoda from the Nature one, Xenia from the Light Demon King, and Mojo you can be bought from the Black Market. But like I said, these guys are all farmable, so you don't have to go, so you can just pick them up from those places, unless you summon them from a rare disc or even a common disc. Except for Xenia, of course, because she's light, but you can summon her from a light and dark disc. Now, as I mentioned, I was using Garai's synergy trait because he does increase defense of all my allies, which is good because if you don't have that 700 minimum defense that is required for Elder Dragon 10, then you can use him and he can boost up your team for that extra the extra boost that they're going to need to reach that 700 defense cap or minimum. But if you already reached that and you are surpassed it on all your units and you're comfortable with the defense of your guys, you can definitely use other synergy traits, like for instance Rhoda's, so you can reduce the nature cooldowns of all your allies, or Manas, which reduces everybody's cooldowns. But for now, I'm going to be using Garai because my a couple of these guys don't have 700 defense yet, and he boosts them up, so they can't have that minimum. So let's go into the fight, and we'll talk about it while we'll talk more about it while we're inside the fight itself. Now, the minimum requirement for this fight, guys, that they want you to have is they want you to have at least 45,000 HP, 700 defense, and 60% accuracy on all the units that are your debuffers, pretty much. So we'll put this on auto. So the first part is pretty easy, just clearing your, the waves or whatnot. So this is pretty self-explanatory. And once we get into the boss, you guys can see everything that's going on. So as far as like Garai and their abilities, Garai helps with the immunity. He's my immunity buffer. So when the dragon does his defense break, well, when the left tower does the defense break on all my units, Garai prevents that. Or he tries to prevent that as much as he can by giving immunity to all of himself and everybody near him. Now, unfortunately, the range isn't too wide, as you can see. If I hold down my Q, this is the range of his immunity. So everyone around him that's in that circle will get the immunity buff. He also does his Searing Breath, I believe it's called. It's his W, and he reduces defense of anybody caught in the frontal cone blast that he does. Usually it's the boss, so you definitely want to have the defense break on the boss, because the more defense break that he has, or the longer he has it on, the faster DPS is gonna be a lot better for you guys. Last thing he does is he has his Disorient on his third skill. Disorient is great because it reduces the boss's damage by 30% with a 50% chance, and he also cannot crit your units. So unfortunately, right there, Manas died because he's the water type. He doesn't have that nature advantage. But sometimes this stuff happens, and I'm kind of actually glad this happened. Usually when he does wipe, the whole team is still able to carry the rest of the run. It just takes a little bit longer, but even if that does happen, like I said, it can still carry the run. As far as Rhoda, you guys are probably pretty familiar with her. She does her Tempest, which increases the attack speed of all of her allies that are around her. If I go to her and I can use it, this is the range of it. So as long as everyone around her is in that range, they get that attack speed buff, and they get the reduced cooldown on all their skills. Her first skill reduces, let me see, I believe it's her Q. It reduces the defense, and another helpful debuff that she helps Garai with. Lower defense means more DPS, and then her W reduces the attack power of the boss, which is another great, really great, because this boss is known to one-shot anyone. As you guys saw, he pretty much one-shot my Manas, because unfortunately he did have his attack buff, Xenia didn't strip, and he didn't have the attack break. But that stuff happens, guys. It's all RNG in this fight, guys. It's all RNG. And as far as Mojo, his basic attack disorients the boss, which same as Garai. Disorient reduces his attack, reduces his crit chance as well to create your units. And his W, which is the one that's his most important. I don't know if you guys can see, but the range on it is wide. It's wide enough to cover the whole field, which will increase everyone's attack and defense, which is itself is pretty explanatory. It's really, really great, guys. You definitely want to have Mojo to do that if you just for that survivability. Now, one thing I do want to point out, guys, I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but if the buffs override each other, if you don't, for instance, if you don't have immunity on your units and your Mojo uses his defense buff, if that left tower uses his defense break right after Mojo's, it does override the defense buff, and it applies the defense break on your units instead of them getting overridden. Instead of them having both buffs at the same time. So that's something really big, guys, that you guys need to pay attention with. There's nothing we can really do about it because unfortunately that's how the game works. So keep in mind that you can't have both buffs on at the same time. Same thing goes for attack break and attack buff. If the boss has an attack buff and you if the boss doesn't have attack buff and you defend or attack break him, and then the right tower decides to buff the boss with attack buff, it will overwrite your attack break on the boss. As you guys saw, it did take a lot longer because Manas died early on in the game. But like I said, the whole team is good enough to carry the run for the rest of it. So if Manas had lived, obviously it would have been a little bit shorter time. So let's replay that one more time, and you guys can see another run. Hopefully Manas lives this time. But like I was saying, the buffs override each other, guys. There's never a time when you're gonna have an attack buff and an attack break on at the same time. I know it's a little bit kind of ridiculous because it helps if you did have it; it'll cancel each other out. But like I said, that's just how the game that's just how the game works, pretty much. Now moving on to Xenia. Xenia, you guys may or may not know, she is amazing. Definitely get her. Definitely farm her. I know it's a grind to farm her, but man, does she helps in everything, every aspect of the game. PvP, PvE, Blitz, everything, guys. Her Q strips the boss from any buffs, which I wish she would have done the run before. She would have stripped the attack buff, but she didn't, unfortunately. But it does strip. Her Wave of Celerity, which is her W or her second skill, heals everybody and lowers cooldowns on all your units. And then her E is not too useful on the boss, but it does help on the trash waves because she does stun and she CCs the enemies, so you can DPS them down quick. And on her basic attack, which is really good, defense breaks on every fourth chance, I believe. Every fourth hit, she has a chance to defense break the boss or anything that she's attacking. So overall, Xenia is definitely great, guys. Farm her, get her, build her, 6-star her even, and you guys will be happy you did. And right there again, he almost killed Manas, but you know that's expected because Manas is a DPS and he's only 5-star. If he was 6-star, he'd have better survivability. Now, as far as Manas, we'll talk about him. His cooldown leader skill is amazing. Obviously, reduced cooldowns for all your allies means more uptime on buffs, more DPS. More uptime on debuffs, which is great. His Q it shoots out a frontal cone, 3 swords, does DPS on the way out, and then on the way in it heals everybody that's in the way along with himself. So it's a little extra heal that you can have for all your units. His W, let me see, I think it's called reverberating strike. Gives the boss an ongoing damage debuff. Ongoing damage does 2.5 HP per tick on the boss, so another helpful ability to lower down the boss's health and to be able to kill it quicker. And then his E, which is actually not bad for this fight because it does block buffs and it does mortal wounds. Mortal wounds doesn't matter, but block buffs is really good for putting it on the boss. Block buffs prevents him from getting the attack buff. Now, it just obviously depends if the debuff is on the boss at the time of the time of his attacks, and before he gets the attack buff. That way it'll block it from him getting it, and it won't affect your units from it. He won't be able to hit as hard. But other than that, that's the DPS I chose to use for my runs, for this run at least. but you guys can choose your own DPS. It's preferably that you do get a nature DPS, because obviously he'll have that elemental advantage. You could use the Candy Munchkin, the Nature Hag. In my case, I use my BM, my nature BM, but obviously I'm not using her here because for the sake of the video, I'm using only nat 3s to help you guys out that you unfortunately can't pull a nat 5, but hopefully you guys do someday. So that's my team, guys, all nat 3s. You guys saw 2 runs in a row that pretty much succeeded. I don't have problems with that team. Every once in a while Manas dies, but like I said, the rest of the team can definitely power through it, and then it just takes a little bit longer. But if he was 6-star, obviously he'd have more survivability, and I believe he wouldn't die. But I am in the process of making him 6-star, so guys, bear with me. But as far as their gear, now before I explain their gear, guys, I want to explain to you how I got to this point. I didn't just farm Elder Dragon 10 the whole time I've been playing, obviously. My experience was I farmed gear from Scenario, enough gear to power me up to do Elder Dragon 7. Once I had Elder Dragon 7 on farm, I farmed it for a bit, got some more gear, and then I moved over to Widow, Widow 4 actually, believe it or not, and I farmed an Adept set for Xenia. Xenia on Adept, guys, is pure amazing. It's just so good. Lower cooldowns on the heal, so you can solo heal the team. Strip is a lower cooldown as well. Just overall way better on Adept, guys. I definitely recommend, if you're going from Elder Dragon 7, to go straight into Widow 4 or whichever one you can farm, and then just farm until you get her an Adept set, because like I said, Adept on her is exceptional, guys. It's so good. As far as Rhoda, she's running on a triple vital, so you can farm this set from Elder Dragon 7 once you get that on farm until you get her geared up. She is running at about almost 45,000 HP, over 700 defense. Her accuracy could use a little work, obviously, but she's working fine for now. As far as the set and the build I have her is on HP accuracy. If I did plus 15 this, then her accuracy would be a little bit closer to 60%, but for now, she's doing fine. Sorry, as far as Xenia, is all HP, and then accuracy. She is at 80% accuracy because I did get some good drops for her. Now, I do want to say this before you guys get on me about it. With the Master Pack, I was able to get these 2 sets, but before that, she did have an Adept helmet and Adept chest that I farmed from Widow. Obviously, the Master Pack helps anybody who buys it because it does give them that Adept set. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that I did get these 2 pieces from the Master Pack, which really helps. But the rest of the stuff, like these 2, I farmed from Widow, not 4, but when I got up to Widow 7 and 8 on that, when I had that on farm. And I do have a video on that, guys. If you guys wanted to know how to farm Widow 7 and 8, you guys go check that out. But I did get these 2 pieces from there, and then I was able to gear her up with Adept, and then she's at the build that she's at right now. Rhoda, I've already explained. Mojo, Garai as well. He's on a vital, sturdy, and precise build, and he's on defense HP. Now his gear recommendation is all sturdy because he does scale some of his attacks scale off of defense, but I put him on an HP percent just for more survivability because he is only a 5-star. Once he gets to 6-star, his HP would be above. Well, we're probably close to where he's at right now, and that'll be okay. But his defense will go up a lot higher, making his survivability way better. Also, another thing I want to point out, he does have 2 skill ups missing from his cryptic barrier, so his immunity isn't always 100%. But once this is built up and has the 2 more skill ups, it should be close to 100%, if not already at 100%, especially with Xenia reducing cooldowns as well as Manas's leader and reducing cooldowns on his abilities. But he's, like I said, defense, HP with precise, sturdy, and vital with 49% accuracy, so he can land his lower defense and disorient to help out Mojo and Xenia and Rhoda. As far as Mojo, speaking of, he is on HP, and I have him on also a precise that I farmed from Steel Widow, and I have him on broken because I haven't gotten, unfortunately, another vital set. But broken works, whatever works, guys, whatever works. Even if it's a broken set, even if it's a full set, whatever works. Definitely look for stats over gear sets, guys, because no matter how good no matter if you have a perfect, I mean, not a perfect, if you have a full gear set, but the stats are not as good, don't worry about it. Put on a broken set. Don't use that set because it's not going to be as good as a broken set, is what I'm saying. But he's at 57% accuracy. He's at a little bit over 40,000 HP, maybe like 41, 42, something like that. Defense, he's at close to 700. Which is also a reason why I use Garai's defense leader skill, because he does bring him over to 700 defense. Plus, he's also nature just like Rhoda, so he does have that elemental advantage over the boss. I believe that was it. I got her, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and Manas. My Manas is kind of a weird build. He's at 5-star, but he's also on a depth set that I farmed. The only one, again, that I got from the Master Pack was the shoulders. Because they're decent, like they're actually pretty good. HP and attack percent. But you can always replace that with an HP for more survivability, or if you get your own attack percent, or if you even got the Master Pack, definitely replace that or put that in there. And I have him on attack HP. Once he gets to 6-star level 60, his HP will go up. I can replace one of these two with another attack percent if I wanted to, or maybe this one with a crit rating or whatever, or crit damage, because his stats are actually, he's at about 30,000 HP, a little bit less than that, I believe. His defense is not too great, a little bit less than 600, but Garai's ability brings him up to 700. His crit rate is amazing. I guess I got really good substats with his gear. He's at 91% crit rating. His crit damage is not the greatest, which is why I say that I might replace this with a crit damage one soon. But this is the build that I'm running him. Not too much accuracy. I wish I had more accuracy on him. But he still seems to land his debuffs. Definitely I would love more though, so I can have more uptime on his debuffs. His block buffs, his ongoing damage as well. But this is how I'm running him. And this is, like I said, guys, that's pretty much the team. All nat 3s, no nat 4s or nat 5s. And you guys can do the same thing too. Now, as you go further on into the game, maybe you'll get a nat 5 like the BM or whoever you want to use, Water Ink Ninja, anybody that can replace your units. A lot of people are using the Snake Ladies, the Nagas for the shields. There's a lot of different combinations, guys. But as if you guys are starting out, you can't seem to pull those units, you can use a team similar to this. But if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to comment in the section below. Anything I left out, let me know, and I'll get back to you guys with it as soon as possible. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like, and I'll see you guys on the next video.